Hello students, welcome to YouTube channel Vidya for Success.
Dear students, in this video, let us study some basic concepts of statistics. The first concept is units. Units are also referred as individuals. So, what are units? In a statistical survey, we will be observing characteristics of objects. Let us say you are conducting a survey regarding the students' reading habits. Okay, so you will be observing each and every student. Let us say you will be observing around 10 students. So here each student, first student, second student, these are all individuals. So you will be observing their study pattern. So here what is meant by units or individuals? The objects whose characteristics are under study in a statistical survey are called as units or individuals. Okay. So you will be studying the pattern of characteristic. You will be studying their symptoms. So in a particular statistical survey, then they are referred as units or individuals. Similarly, population, another concept. What is meant by population? It is also referred as universe. So, what is population? I would like to study the reading habit or study habit of complete one district. So, I'll not be considering only 10 students. I'll be considering the entire student community within a particular district. So, what is population or universe? The totality of units under consideration is called as population or units. I'll not be considering only few 10 or 15. I'll be considering entire student population within a particular district. So then the entire total of all the units, all the students considered together, it will be referred as population or also referred as universe. So in population, there are different types. The first one is finite population and the second one is infinite population. Okay, so what is population? Totality of units under consideration. So for a particular statistical survey, you have to consider, let us say, n units. Okay, so all these n units put together is referred as population. In population, there are two types: finite population, and another one is infinite population. So what do you mean by finite population? So finite population is nothing but where you can have a finite number of quantities of units. For example, I would like to study students in my classroom. Okay, so I would like to go through their height and weight. Okay, so if I want to study their height and weight, there will be n number of students. There are no infinite number of students. Let us say there are 50 number of students or 60 number of students. There is an exact number is there. So whenever in a population which contains finite number of units, then it is called as a finite population. Okay, so what is finite population? A population which contains finite number of units. We can say what is the exact number of units available in a particular population for which we have to study, then that is referred as finite population. So let me consider an example. So the population of student in a classroom, always it is a fixed number. The fixed number is always available in your attendance book. So in a classroom there may be 50, 30, 60 or 70, whatever, but there is a fixed number. Similarly, another one is the population of number of staff in a hospital. Always this staff number is always available. It is a fixed. You cannot say there are n infinite number of staff members in hospital. No, that's not going to work. Okay, so the population having finite number of units is referred as finite population. Next, infinite population. So what is an infinite population? Let us say I want to study regarding stars. Okay, is it possible for me to study each and every star in the universe? No, isn't it? So there are too many stars. I don't know what is the exact number of stars in the universe. So whenever your population are having infinite units which you cannot count or which you cannot measure, then such a population are referred as infinite population. Okay, so a population which contains infinite number of units is called as a infinite population. Okay, so Example, the population of birds in a city. Yes, you know that there are birds in a city, but is it possible for you to count exactly how many birds are there precisely? No, that cannot be done. That's example. Next one is the population of number of trees and plants in a forest. For some extent, you can count number of trees because they are fully grown. You can count them, but plants, there are small plants, shrubs, herbs. Too many different varieties are there. So, is it possible for you to count exactly how many trees are there, how many plants are there in a forest? Not at all. So, such a population where it is impossible to count all the units, so then it's referred as infinite population. Next, a sample. So, what do you mean by sample? Now we are facing the situation of coronavirus. Okay, so here in this particular situation, in order to test a particular community whether they are infected by coronavirus or not, what they will be doing, they will be coming to nearby homes or particular place and they will be undertaking a test. Okay, so sometimes the cost of those tests what you are conducting may be too high. Let us say for each test it is costing 5,000 rupees, and it takes too much of time and energy. So then you cannot perform test on each and every units in a population. In our country there are 1.3 crore population, isn't it? So you cannot test each and every units. It is too costly, time consuming. So what best that can be done? You will be choosing some units out of the population. So the chosen unit of the population that's represent a sample. Okay, so what is sample? The representative units of a population is called sample. Okay, so usually we'll be doing this in while buying sweets. When you visit a particular sweet stall or stores, sweet shop, before buying a kg of laddu or what of peda, just you will go through the sample. If the sample is good, tasty, then you will buy it, or else you will go for another particular product. So here sample is nothing but a representative unit. So this is a pictorial representation you can notice here. So this is the entire population. There are too many number of individuals here in this population. You cannot conduct test or survey on each and every one. It's a difficult procedure. So what best that can be done is you will be choosing some units from this population. Okay, so the chosen that representative units is referred as sample. Next, again attached with sample there are we need to study one more thing. Units in the population will possess certain characteristics. So within a population, let us say India is having 1.3 crore population is there. So these population, these individuals units, each one of us will be possessing certain characteristics. Some of the characteristics you can measure them, some you cannot measure. So again, units in a population will possess certain characteristics. Some of them can be numerically expressible one, some you cannot express numerically. So those numerically measurable characteristics are referred as quantitative characteristics. Please understand here. So those characteristics of an individual, of an unit, which you can numerically measure. For example, in my classroom, I can measure the height of a student. I can measure the weight of a particular student. Yes, numerically they are measurable. These characteristics are numerically measurable. So then such a characteristic are referred as quantitative characteristics. Okay. Similarly, the characteristics which are not numerically measurable, some of the characteristics are there. For example, you cannot measure the color. Is it possible? Exactly, you can say he is so much percentage dark, he is so much dark, fair. No, you cannot say. Similarly, you cannot measure the intelligence. Can you? Is it possible for you to measure the intelligence? Is it possible for us to measure the attitude? No, you cannot measure them. So certain characteristics of a units are not at all, you cannot measure them, not numerically expressible one or measurable one. Then such a characteristic are referred as qualitative characteristics. Okay, so within a population there are too many units. Each and every unit will possess certain characteristics. The characteristics can be numerically measurable one or may not be numerically measurable one. If they are numerically measurable, then they are referred as quantitative characteristic. If they are not numerically measurable, then they are referred as qualitative characteristics. Next, variable. So, as the name itself is indicating, it varies. Okay, what varies here? So, here the values. Okay, so a quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is a variable. So, what is a variable? Quantitative characteristic. What is quantitative characteristic? A measurable characteristic, a measurable property. For example, height. Yes, height you can measure it, and the height, it varies from unit to unit. It varies from unit to unit, individual to individual. Okay, so a quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is referred as a variable. Now let us go through some examples. Height or weight of students. Yes, so in a classroom there may be 50 or 40 students are there. So height of each student, it varies. Maybe from decimal, some point value also it may be varying. Next, number of students in a classroom. Number of students in first classroom may be let us say 10. In another classroom maybe 20, maybe 100. So it also varies. Okay, so this is a variable. So you can measure height and weight of particular students, or in a particular classroom if you are able to measure what is the number of students, then such a characteristic is referred as a variable. Okay, so a quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is referred as variable. Next, attribute. As I said, some of the characteristics you cannot measure them. For example, the facial color, or else you cannot measure intelligence, you cannot measure attitude of a particular person, you cannot measure his confidence. Not at all. You cannot measure it exactly. Skill. Okay, he is having 5 percentage or 5 on a scale of 5 ಇದೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ confidence 10 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. You cannot measure it exactly. So what is meant by attribute? A qualitative characteristic which varies from what? Unit to unit is referred as attribute. A qualitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is called as attribute. So example, skin color, intelligence, ability of a student, etc. You cannot measure them exactly. Stay there, skin color ide ತರ ಇದೆ, intelligence stay ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So they are referred as attribute. So this is a representative picture. So you cannot measure the skin tone or skin color of each individuals. Next, so already we know what is a variable. What is variable? A quantitative, measure ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. A quantitative characteristic which varies from unit to unit is called as variable ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ. Here what is a discrete variable? So a variable which considers a value within a given range. For example, if someone asks me what is your height, I'll be saying my height is 5.5 centimeter, sorry 5.5 feet ಅಂತ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಒಂದು ರೇಂಜ್ ಇದೆ. ಲೆಟಸ್ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ, ಹೈಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ, ಲೆಟಸ್ ಸೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ 4 ಫೀಟಿಂದ ಒಂದು 6.5 ಫೀಟ್ ತನಕ ರೇಂಜ್ ಇದೆ. ಆ ರೇಂಜ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೆಫರ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೀಟ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್. Okay, so what is a discrete variable? A variable which assumes only specified values. Only ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ವಿತಿನ್ ಅ ಗಿವನ್ ರೇಂಜ್, ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೆಫರ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೀಟ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೆಂಚಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೀಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಬೆಂಚಸ್. ಸೊ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ 10 ಇದೆ ಬೆಂಚಸ್, 30 ಬೆಂಚಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ. ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್, then that is referred as a discrete variable ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So next, another one is number of accidents in a day. Exactly you can say a number of accidents. So 5 accidents ಆಯಿತು, 10 ಆಯಿತು, 7 ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, then that is referred as a discrete variable. Please notice here representative diagram. So within a classroom you can count exactly how many benches are there. So then that variable is referred as a discrete variable. Next, continuous variable. What is continuous variable? Sometimes you will not be able to see an exact figure. Okay, so then what is the best way? We will be coming up with a range of values. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಎಲ್ಲರದ್ದು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರದ್ದು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸೇ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋರದ್ದು ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ 20,000 60,000 ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕೋಟಿಂಗ್ ಅ ರೇಂಜ್, ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ವಿಡ್ತ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. So what is continuous variable? A variable which assumes all possible values within the given range is a continuous variable. Okay, so income of a persons, weight of students, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಅಥವಾ 10 ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲರದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಒಬ್ರದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ನೋಟಿಸ್, ಎಸ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಟ್ ಅ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ದೆನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ರೇಂಜ್ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ 30 kg ಇಂದ 80 kg ಒಳಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಟಾ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಾಟಾ. ಸೊ ಓಕೆ, ಡಾಟಾ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರಬೇಕಿದು, ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸಿಬಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಗಿರಬೇಕು. ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೋ ಯೂಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಡಾಟಾ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಡಾಟಾ. Okay, so those data which you can numerically express, for example your percentage, you can express it numerically. Your height, yes, numerically helbodu. Weight, numerically helbodu. For example, price of a particular article, sugar in prices to helbodu, weight in prices to helbodu, rice prices to helbodu. So these all things, data can be numerically expressible. Then such a data is referred as quantitative data. Okay. On the other hand, what is qualitative data? Data which are not numerically expressible one. You cannot express them numerically. For example, intelligence. You cannot express attitude. You cannot express confidence of a particular person numerically. You cannot express color of a particular color, skin tone. Color, but skin tone anta helala. Skin tone of a particular person numerically. Express ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So then they are all referred as qualitative. There is some quality is there, but you cannot express it. Singing in singers in the melody ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, no, you cannot express it. They are all referred as qualitative data. Next, in data there are two types. One can be expressed in the nominal scale, another can be expressed in ordinal scale. Okay, so ಏನಿದು ಡಾಟಾ ಇದೆ, ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಡಾಟಾಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, so these quantitative datas can be expressed in two ways, nominal scale and ordinal scale. The first one is nominal scale. So what do you mean by nominal scale? A number assigned for every unit for identification of different categories is called as a nominal scale. Just nominee ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Here within a population or within the sample there are too many units. For all these units, just for identification's sake, we will be giving them a number. If that is the case, then such a thing is referred as nominal scale anta heltivi. A number assigned for every unit for identification of different categories is called as a nominal scale. Okay, so example, roll numbers are assigned to students of a college. How they are assigned, why they are assigned? Just to identify, because in a classroom there may be a student by the name Raju ಅಂತ 10 ಜನ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಜು ಅಂತ. ಹೌ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ದೆಮ್, ಹೌ ಟು ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟ್ ದೆಮ್? ಬೈ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ನಂಬರ್, ರೋಲ್ ನಂಬರ್. ಸೊ ಒಬ್ಬನಿಗಿರೋ ರೋಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ದೆಮ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ನಾಮಿನಲ್ ಸೇಕ್. ಇಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್. ನೋಡಿ, ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿರಾಟ್ ಕೊಹ್ಲಿ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದ ಜೆರ್ಸಿ ನಂಬರ್ as 18, ಧೋನಿ 7, ತೆಂಡೂಲ್ಕರ್ 10. isn't it? So that doesn't represent anything. 7 ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವನು ಟಾಪ್, 10 ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವನು ಸ್ನೇಕ್. ನೋ, ಇಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಸೇ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ನಾಮಿನಲ್ ಸೇಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯು ಮೀನ್ ಬೈ ಆರ್ಡಿನಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್? ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ನ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಸೈನ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್, ಆನ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಸೈನ್ಡ್ ಟು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ that can be arranged in ascending or descending order is called as ordinal scale. So for the units, for the individuals, you are assigning numbers, and after assigning these numbers you can arrange them either in ascending order or descending order on a particular parameters ಮೇಲೆ assign ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ. So they are referred as ordinal scale ಅಂತ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So example, ranks given to students. How ranks are assigned to a student? Simply ಹೇಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಹಾಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ? ನೋ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಸೈನ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ದೇರ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ದಮ್ ಅಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಡಿಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್. And also you can notice here there are different varieties of rice available in the market in a store, and you will be quoting the price. Okay, leave price quoting ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಫೈನ್, ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಗ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಇದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಇನ್ ರೈಸ್, ಇದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಇನ್ ರೈಸ್, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಇನ್ ರೈಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ದಸ್? ಓನ್ಲಿ ವಿತ್ ದ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ನ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಸ್ಕೇಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಡಾಟಾದಲ್ಲಿ ದಟ್ಟು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಡಾಟಾದಲ್ಲಿ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಮಿನಲ್ scale, another one is ordinal scale. Okay, so with this I have finished the first chapter. Thank you.